So we're going to replace the rear ride level sensors, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see them, they are there. Well, that's where it links in, just there. So we're going to basically pop that off, and then at the top, underneath it, you can see, where's the thing? There's the thing. So can you see it? It's impossible to film this. So there's the sensor. There's the sensor there. And basically once you've pulled the bottom off, there we go. Once you pull the bottom, the actual link arm off, that arm can move up, and there's just 2 Phillips bolts. So it should be quite a simple, straightforward one, and it's quite easy to get to once you got the car up onto ramps. If you don't have the car on ramps, it's just that slightly more difficult to do. So I'm gonna pull that bottom lever off, the electrical link arm off, and get the Phillips out. So that's the rear ride level sensors changed out. Quite a straightforward job, to be honest. If you've got the right access, it's not too bad. These are third-party sensors, so rightly so, they were a bit of a fettle. So they came with the normal standard rods attached, and these are the superseded versions. So this pin here is actually, I can't really focus on it, but that pin there is wider than the original. What that meant was, to get these Proud Rhino bars on, the grommet inside there and the actual bar itself was too narrow, sorry, so I couldn't fit it over. So thankfully I got a grommet set, so I pulled that grommet out, got a smaller grommet with a larger inner diameter grommet, fit that onto the pin first, then put the bar over it, and then fit the bar over the grommet itself. So I don't know if you can actually get any closer than that. I don't know whether you can, but like that. So there is now in here, whoop, so that there is the replacement grommet on the actual Proud Rhino bar. Now there is this slack here. I don't really foresee it being a bit of a problem. I think it'll be okay. It moves quite freely. There's no slack, so it should be okay. If it does start causing a problem, if it does ride up and down here and cause issues with the height itself, then either I'll find something to pop round here to stop it from basically picking up the slack, or I will replace it with genuine Land Rover ones. I'm not too fussed. It wasn't a particularly difficult job. One thing I did notice as well is that the actual connector on the top here is partially broken, where somebody's had at it with a I don't know, with a hammer maybe, I'm not sure, but they've broken one of the clips. So it fits in quite snugly. Doesn't seem to be any corrosion on the points, so that seems to be okay as well. So that is both the rears done. I'm reasonably happy with that. Can you see the fronts there as well? So there's the other side. They're in there as well, all connected up, ready to go. So fingers crossed it should be okay. I tested earlier on the gap tool to see whether it was reading any live feed, and it is. It's reading all the voltages. Seems to be pretty standard as well, no ups and downs. So both the rears look pretty good. So I've got the fronts turning up in the next few days. When they do, I'll do the fronts, and then I'm going to take it to a car park and do a complete reset height, because these are going to be wildly out now. So I'm now going to get it off ramps and see how badly behaved it is now. It's got 2 rear sensors that it thinks probably is 3 feet off the floor. So wish me luck. On to the fronts. So this is the front right, or the UK driver side. This should be relatively straightforward. It is a matter of unplugging. The plug looks in slightly better condition than the last rear I did. I am going to take the bracket off because it came with a new one, which I'll show you in a second. And hopefully we can get this fitted. And there is actually a new pin that came with it as well, which goes here, so that'll be interesting as well. See if that actually comes off. For the time being, I'm going to unplug, undo the top ones. Yeah, undo the top one. I might be able to get to the, I think it comes with a bracket because you can't get to the screws. So yeah, I'm going to undo that bolt there and that bolt there, which look like little 10 mils. So that is the first thing to take them off. So these are the new front sensors. Well, it's not actually. This is the old front sensor for the front driver's side, or the front right side, depending on what country you're in. Got my Rhino bar off there, ready to go, and it looks like actually on the front pins, I think, are the same. So this looks like a reasonably good. So these pins here. So on the rear, this was too big, and I had to change the grommet.
on the front, they look like about right. So I need to take this one off carefully, probably just cut it off so I don't bend the actual sensor. Pop this on and it should go straight on. So fingers crossed.
Okay, so we've got the front ones done now. So this is the front driver's side, front right side, sorry, for UK drivers anyway. Got the universal Land Rover part here wrapped around it, the zip tie, as the clip was very brittle going back on. Came off okay. Going back on, it didn't really want to seat in properly, so it's pushed in as hard as it can go, but it's starting to deteriorate, so I might have to change that loom at some point. But for the time being, the zip tie is holding it nice and tightly into that sensor there. And then on the passenger side, the left-hand side, again, sits in really nicely. That one did clip in a bit easier, but I have put a zip tie around it again anyway, really just keep that cable up out of the way as well. So they're both in there, they sit quite nicely, using the original bolts, 8mm bolts, and should be job done. So now it's time to get in, get off the ramps, and do a height reset. So fingers crossed that goes okay.
So we've got some footage here of the gap IID tool from prior to actually changing the sensors. And on here we did some live values testing to see what I was looking at. So we looked at the front and rear sensor voltages and their supply voltages as well. And you can't really see it from the numeric side of things, but when you put it into a graph, you can see that changes. It will spread out in just a moment. There we go. So it will show the variations. So the rears weren't too bad. So the rear left height sensor in blue, you can't really see, that's pretty static. But the purple, which is the front right height sensor, and the red you'll see as well will drop off. But they were a bit all over the place. So the car's completely stationary at this point. So the blue front, that's the rear left, just dropped down for no reason. And there's just constantly this variation in the actual height sensors. So I wanted to see what it looked like when I actually dropped the car down, because what was happening was that as I put the car down, something was happening, it was stopping the car from going down. As you'll see, this is the blues, that's the rear going down, but you'll see the front right sensors, they shot up. So that was pushing the car up at the front while the back was trying to go down. And this is the, as you see the blue line coming back up now, you'll see that's it trying to rectify itself, putting it into off-road mode. Or into that recovery mode. I can't, the name escapes me now. So the measurements were all over the shop, mainly the fronts, but the rears were problematic as well. So this is the reason why I actually changed all of the sensors. It was arguably nonsensical to not change them all. So I did the rears and the fronts, the whole lot, for about 70 quid. I bought the cheapest ones I could. I'm sure I'm going to regret that at some stage, but for the time being, it's worked. I did do another IAD test. I completely forgot to record it, and all of these values are completely static. So the sensors are all working particularly well now, and as you'll see in one of my other videos, I was having a purge issue as well, where I was getting a code coming up, I can't remember which one it was, saying that the gallery wouldn't be purged properly. And actually that was to do with a filter, but that will be in another video. So with these new sensors running, I'm pretty happy and everything is working really well. So thanks for tuning in for this particular episode on the channel. It was quite brief with regards to what I was actually doing under the car itself, but it is quite a straightforward job. I think now I've done it once, I could probably do the whole thing again in about half an hour, front and backs. So I'll let you know if I get any feedback regarding if these sensors fail really quickly, whatever, but actually they seem to be okay so far. So thanks for joining us. If you'd like to see more what we're doing with the L322 and other things, please do consider subscribing. Click the notification bell, and if you've got anything you'd like to add, please do feel free to comment on the section area where you comment. You know where you go. Thanks.